When you're in that sweet spot, you're moving actually more people through that lane than you are in the other lanes, and it's working very effectively. However, hitting that sweet spot is hard to do.
Keeping LA moving with the carpool lane. This time on UCLA Newsweek Raw. With the current work being done to add a high-occupancy vehicle lane to the 405 and the upcoming shutdown this weekend, Brian Taylor discusses how the billion-dollar project might ease traffic congestion.
The goal of a high-occupancy vehicle lane is that you allow people free-flow traffic as an encouragement to carpool. So they can drive alone and they're in the heavy traffic. They look over, they see cars whizzing by, they think, you know, Shirley also drives this route in the morning. Maybe if we carpool together, we can go over there, we can save 20 minutes and get to work. Okay? So what it is you're trading off the inconvenience and flexibility of having to coordinate with someone else and travel together for the time savings of being able to bypass the traffic. That's the logic of an HOV lane. Okay? So there's two important things about that. One is that time savings needs to be relatively reliable. In other words, you need to be able to count on it, or why bother going to the effort of forming the carpool. So when a carpool lane is operating in congested conditions, people think, I've got Shirley here, she's perfectly fine, but now we're in bumper-to-bumper traffic, this was hardly worth the effort. I'm going to go back to driving alone. So you have to be able to kind of protect the free flow conditions. On the other hand, if not enough Shirleys and Brians get together, then it means that you've underutilized the capacity, you've built a lot of concrete, you've taken a valuable space, and you're not using it very effectively. So getting that sweet spot where you have nice flow and you're able to move a lot of people through, when you're in that sweet spot, you're moving actually more people through that lane than you are in the other lanes, and it's working very effectively. However, hitting that sweet spot is hard to do. And so there's concerns about how clumsy it is to use HOV lanes. There's another approach that's been tried in Orange County and San Diego, and it's going to be experimented with in Los Angeles, and those are called hot lanes, where you often have, instead of a single lane, you might have two lanes, as you do, say, on State Route 91, and you allow people to pay a toll to travel through there. And that toll varies by the congestion levels, so that you maintain the toll to keep things always free-flowing. The toll is used actually to generate revenue, to pay for the facility, and in some cases to pay for improved transit service through the corridor. So that no one is worse off, because no one pays the toll unless they choose to, because they always have the option of traveling in the free congested lanes. And you're able to adjust the tolls to keep the traffic in that sweet spot. You can adjust it just by a few pennies, where you can't adjust one-person, two-person, three-person carpools. It's much more clumsy. And you're able to actually get a lot more traffic through. You don't have to worry about times where it's underutilized. And you're generating revenue. And all the revenue you're getting are from people who are voluntarily paying the toll in order to bypass the traffic. So those projects have proven very, very successful on operational grounds and on financial grounds. But they meet with more political resistance from people who are uncomfortable with this idea of paying a toll, even if it's giving people the option of paying the toll. Because that runs counter to some concerns about, well, it's not fair, they've already paid for the roadway, or they're paying in fuel taxes, or might it hurt poor people, and so there's some resistance to that. So we're engaging in a program to look at some high-occupancy toll lanes in Los Angeles County right now, an aggressive planning program. And as I said, in Orange County and San Diego and a variety of places around the country, they're doing these projects. In the Bay Area, they're adding one, Seattle, Denver, Houston has several. And these projects have proven quite successful. So what would that look like in the Sepulveda corridor? Well, you might actually take one of those lanes. You might have two lanes going in each direction. You might charge a toll that would vary. It'd be very low in the middle of the night. It might be much higher at the peak of the peak, 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. But you'd adjust that to allow people to drive through there. It'd generate a lot of revenue, which could help pay for the widening project. And you could use that to operate transit service for those people who could then go through at very high speeds. So now, instead of worrying about trying to build an expensive rail line through the corridor, you would have a bus lane, essentially, that would be paid for by people voluntarily paying a toll to move through the corridor, and you could move many more people through.
For more on this and other stories, please visit newsroom.ucla.edu and follow our tweetness at UCLA Broadcast.